71st round of VV Gaming's Losers Bracket podcast. And first things first, I want to thank all of you for the amazing feedback you gave us last week, some critical responses. We really appreciate it. This week we have another great show lined up for you with some really amazing news. MLG Columbus had some incredible stream numbers. We'll be talking about that in just a second. As well, there's been some changes to GameBattles. And we have a guest that actually was out at E3 this past week. We will be discussing some of the hot titles and what this means for the competitive scene in the future in just a little bit. But first things first, MLG Columbus. Some quick news on this. Wow, if you have not seen the numbers from the stream, what they did, absolutely insane. 22.5 million streams. To put that into perspective, that is nearly double the amount of streams that the 2011 NFL Draft had online. Over 450,000 unique viewers on this stream. Jerry, you've got to be impressed.
I mean, this changes everything. That is what this means. A lot of people, I think, knew it was going to be successful. Sundance said he was turning over 10,000 per hour. Now that we know it was viewed 22.5 million times by 450,000 unique viewers, you have an engaged audience. You have an uptake that is, incredible. And I think Sundance said it on this show. This is just the beginning. And in a way, we could say that, esports in North America begins here. This is the first time I think the picture clarifies for everyone. So I think it's fantastic.
I have to agree with you 100%. A total of more than 2.2 million hours of video was consumed during MLG Columbus. That number is just absurd, in the best of ways, of course. In addition to the online viewers, there were more than 16,000 people attending in person over the course of the weekend, and there were actually over 1,300 players from around the world competing. This also makes this the largest MLG competition in history.
And I want to point out to those of you who are on the website, VV Gaming's own site statistics track this almost identically. We've been around for 4 years, and the highest number of people we had on our site at one time was in the 200s. And on June 4th, day 2, that Saturday of the Major League Gaming event, the VVV website had 454 people online our site at one time. So clearly the impact was throughout esports to all the organizations involved. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. So those numbers are very believable and I think quite accurate considering the traffic we had on the VVV Gaming website.
Now, it could be said that part of the reason this was so successful and there were a lot of stream viewers, things of that nature, was because we had the HD stream for free. And Sundance, it looks like, has not let this slip under the radar here. He has actually tweeted out, may have to come up with a way to keep HQ streams free at events. Long shot, would require community support, going to crunch numbers. This would be a pretty big game changer, don't you think?
I mean, what it does is it says that viewership is going to matter more than having two separate streams. And I'm not sure what numbers he's going to crunch, but I suspect if we can provide, meaning Major League Gaming, if Major League Gaming can provide high-definition content to people on the internet without charging them for it, which, to be honest, it would be in line with major networks and sports and stuff like that, because of revenue that would be gained from advertising and other things, then I think we've arrived on scene. And if that means we all need to be watching that stream during MLG events and helping him get the numbers even higher, then that is what we should do. Because to have high-definition streaming available to everyone for free, to be honest, it doesn't get any better than that. So it would be fantastic if that was made available.
This is just incredibly exciting, Jerry. It really shows that the face of competitive gaming is changing, and I can't help but think that these stream numbers are really going to be a great thing for advertisers and potential partners for MLG in the future. You know, this opens so many doors, and I can't help but feel like they're really changing the game up with this. And speaking of changing and things that are improving for the future, and as well as MLG's online presence, let's move into some changes that they're making to GameBattles here soon. Have you seen these beta changes that they're making?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm very interested in the idea of using crowdsourcing as a way to help just take care of match disputes. For those of you that don't know, GameBattles is launching a new, I guess it would be fair to call it a product because it really is a product. With this is going to be sort of the new Game Battles experience. What they want to do is address some of the biggest complaints. One is that match moderation takes too long, and there's oftentimes too little evidence for the staff on Major League Gaming, on Game Battles, to make informed decisions, to make the right call. They also know that you can artificially boost your GB rank by creating teams and then disbanding them. They also complain about the fact that reputation, you can also create teams, give somebody negative reputation, and then disband that team. And, as horrible as this is, the one good thing about the shitty Game Battles community is they really teach us all the worst ways that the community can possibly interact, abuse, and manipulate the system. And I think this beta might address a lot of those issues.
Definitely. I mean, I've even experienced this in the past, back when Guitar Hero was actually a part of Game Battles. Hey, that's how I even got into VVV Gaming, was because I was playing that on Game Battles. But a lot of people would dispute matches on Game Battles just because they didn't like losing. And it would bog things down and slow things up. And now they're implementing this, what they're calling the CMRS, Community Match Resolution System. In this system, it basically puts all the Game Battles users on the site, which is 5.5 million people, in control of who is going to win a dispute. So they will actually vote for who is in the right in a certain match. So this is pretty cool, and it says in the post that they had made that they're basically putting in checks and balances, new systems to prevent this from being abused, or letting Game Battles turn into a popularity contest in their wording. So I think this is a really good change for the better, and hopefully it'll make things a little more fair on the site and not slow things down for people that are trying to play legit fair.
I think it's probably one of the best things that they could do, because so often, we know here at VV Gaming, just because a lot of our community are out on the ladders of all the people who have absolutely horrible reputations, who have numerous GB accounts, who even when banned use proxies to get onto GB. The nice part about those players with the big egos, they can't keep their mouth shut. And they will tell someone what their new account is, what they're doing. And as that starts to leak into the community and the community can identify those people, it'll be a lot simpler to get rid of them. And I think that even though there are ways that, can be turned into a popularity contest, I certainly applaud the experiment. I think it's an excellent idea, and I'll be really curious to see how people try to abuse it. But at the same time, what happens when the community turns out in favor of those players or teams that they know are playing fair, and what happens when they basically shut down those players on teams that, have a horrible reputation in the community. So it's a good idea. Let's hope it works the way they intend.
Jason, Jerry, I have actually been affected by the dispute system in the past. I would actually play Halo 3 on the 1v1 ladder before, and people would not show up for matches, or like you were talking about earlier, they would dispute match outcomes. Someone would lose. They would say, no, I didn't. I would say, yes, you did. And it would take over 24 to 36 hours for a match resolution to happen. But I do like this community match resolution system because it gets the community involved, and it brings responsibility and accountability to all involved.
Smith brings up a great point here. It's better than just a he said, she said system where, hey, if you were lucky enough to have a capture card running or take a picture of match results, that you would have the swing. This way, the community is involved. And there's actually benefits to the people that help. The people that regularly vote and vote correctly will actually earn ranking points that count towards leaderboards. So it gives incentives to actually be truthful. I think this is wonderful. One other huge change that they are making is to the actual XP and level ranking system on the ladders. They're replacing it with more of an ELO-type ranking system where each team will start with a certain number of points all at the same level, and you'll be adjusted with points up or points down depending on wins or losses. So instead of the experience point whoring that's been happening in the past where you'd see teams made and disbanded, that really won't be too much of an issue with this new system. Because, hey, even if it's a brand new team, you won't get too many points from a win. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this works. It's obviously in beta right now on just a certain few ladders. And if it goes well, hopefully we'll see it rolled out to the entire site in the future.
Yeah, for those that want to know, right now they have that one on the Xbox 360, which is going to be the Black Ops Team Beta Ladder, and the PS3 Black Ops Singles Beta Ladder. And the upcoming ladders from what is on the MLG site includes Black Ops, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, FIFA 11, and Halo Reach, both team and singles, all on the 360. So they're definitely going to roll this out. And I really look forward to seeing how the community responds to this system and how well it works. Again, I applaud Major League Gaming and GameBattles for using some creativity and some thought to attempt to solve what has been a legacy problem with GameBattles and the way the system handles, disputes and cheats and things like that. So I think it's definitely a step in the right direction.
The game that's taken everybody by storm, and in my opinion, one of the biggest factors in the amount of streams that MLG served at Columbus has to be StarCraft. And wow, Wednesday night StarCraft Week 4 last week, VVV Gaming versus VP, an up-and-coming team with several Grandmaster players. We actually had Angry versus Suppy up in the first game, who did fall, but afterwards, VVV Time came in and showed yet again why he is the man to be feared in Clan Wars. With a huge all-kill, VVV Gaming takes down VP 4-1 last week in Wednesday night StarCraft. Want to give a big shout-out to our team, VVV Time. Incredible job last week. Jerry, did you get to catch that game at all?
Did I check the game out at all? I watch every Wednesday night StarCraft. I just want everybody to know, if you want to know where I am on a Wednesday night, you can find me in our Mumble channel, in the StarCraft section, getting educated about StarCraft. Because while one of our players is playing, we've got some great commentary, and I'm aided by the rest of the A-team, who is analyzing, decisions made step by step and giving their commentary. So anybody interested in StarCraft, I highly recommend Wednesday night StarCraft. Come on to our Mumble, watch our stream. It's probably some of the most educational StarCraft that there is, outside of obviously what Day 9 and others already do. But this is our contribution to sort of the StarCraft lexicon there. Wednesday night StarCraft, fantastic time. And yes, you can always find me on Mumble watching Wednesday night StarCraft.
I agree 100%. It's absolutely amazing. Matron, Crota, awesome commentary. If you have not had the chance to check them out yet, please do. Yet again, this week we will be playing Wednesday night StarCraft, 7 p.m. Eastern. Please do check it out. In other StarCraft news, WCG qualifier number 3 is currently ongoing, and we do have 2 VV players currently still in the bracket, in the mix, looking for a berth into the World Cyber Games National Finals for the United States. VV Murder and VV Rough are in the midst of their matches, and hopefully we will have some great news on their results next week's show. Stay tuned to find out how they do.
Yes, VVV Rough is a new addition to the roster. I would say one of the almost psychological or even possibly philosophical weaknesses of our team is the idea of cheese. And for those who aren't familiar with cheese are strategies that basically sacrifice the macroeconomic part of the game for an initial rush, an initial win. People often complain about cheese in matches. And I think that, when it comes to tournament, it's about winning. Winning is what it's about, and whatever strategy on that given moment will give you that success, that's what counts. And bringing a player who is so effective at cheesing, such as Ruff, I think it's a great addition to our roster. He's a solid player. He's going to, I think, help our team a lot by demonstrating his mastery of the kind of all-in strats that often get labeled as cheese, but he is used to defeat, some of the top players, including Idra. So we're glad to have him on the roster. I think he's going to do fantastic, and he's definitely going to help round out our squad.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I have to admit, when someone uses some of those cheesy type strategies, it is incredibly fun to spectate, especially when a top player gets caught. Seeing someone cannon rush, seeing someone put some bunkers in a place that's going to be really awesome for a choke point type attack. I love it. Another thing that is really cool that's going on in the VV gaming community, just so you all know, the Gears of War 3 beta contest. There is an update currently posted above our shout box. If you had not seen it, please go take a look. We actually do have 5 entries into the contest. Deadline has been extended till the 19th, so please go check out the videos on our YouTube channel and give us some feedback. Tell us which ones you like.
Yeah, speaking of Gears of War, I spoke to our Gears of War community on Sunday and gave them my sort of analysis of what StarCraft does well and what the Gears of War community will need to do in order to maximize its chances to be on the MLG Pro Circuit for 2012. So hopefully our Gears division will take that advice and go out there and start to put some of those key elements in place. Other divisions that have things going on, everybody should know that we let Active Rush, the team, go. They dropped Ice Vein, and at this point we felt it was a good time for each of us to explore other options. I know a lot of people want us to go after Instinct. I've been in contact with their coach. It's something we're considering, but I can guarantee you we're not the only organization talking to Instinct. But, definitely Ryan's been very responsive on email, and, we'll continue that conversation. Also, I want to mention that Fly Society, for those that don't know, made a roster change. They're in the process of solidifying their 4th. So a lot of really interesting opportunities have opened up for us, both on the Halo side as well as Call of Duty with a new 4th that could bring a deeper skill set to the team. So all in all, I think everything is going fantastic. And one more little bit of StarCraft news that I don't think everybody's aware of. VVV Titan, Tristan, is now here in Chicago, and he's going to be with us here, myself and Doomhammer, for a week. And we're going to talk about StarCraft, more StarCraft, going all in, and what both him as a player needs to do and us as an organization to help give him the tools to succeed in his quest for being one of the top StarCraft players in North America. So a lot of exciting stuff going on.
Speaking of exciting stuff, this past week, E3 happened, and oh my god, some of the titles, some of the new hardware that was announced, I can't help but feel like the future is very bright for gaming in this coming year and next year. This week on the show, we do have our former co-host, and still has a deep place in our hearts here on the show, the host of our other show on VVV Gaming, Directional Influence. Please welcome back to the Losers Bracket, VVV Rapture, Dakota Lasky. Dakota, it's been a while since you've been here on the show. How have you been? And please tell me, how was E3 for you, buddy?
I am very excited to be here, so I want to first thank you guys for letting me on again. I know there's like a restraining order and stuff like that, because I am that awesome. At E3 is, if you are that passionate about games and you want to survive 3 days of like hell to enjoy the games you love, then E3 is for you. And I took that voyage along with my co-host Will. It's really different than what you'd expect just from reading the news on the internet, to be completely honest. I mean, it's a whole nother beast. Just being there is so much different than hearing about it from Twitter or Facebook or IGN or something like that. Being able to get these games in your hands and witness things happening as they unfold is an experience unlike any other, to be completely honest.
All right, Rapture, I believe you saw the Wii U. Is that correct?
I actually played the Wii U.
Really? Tell us what you thought of it.
Well, the Wii U is not what I expected, but upon further inspection, holding the controller, playing the demos, I feel like it needs a lot of polish, and Nintendo really needs to sort of go back to the drawing board on a lot of things. The demos themselves, I don't think really showed off what the Wii U is capable of. And the problem is that it feels like it really isn't ready for the games it's supposed to support. For one example, the buttons on it are rather small. You have the sliders, which are really not a good substitute for true traditional analog sticks. And the shoulder buttons are not triggers, they're just buttons. So you don't have that sort of gradual release you could use for a game like Forza. Not to say the console is itself bad. I mean, the tablet thing works great. The games that were shown definitely do show off in a way how the tablet's supposed to work. I was able to play Ghost Recon Online, and that was definitely. I think that's alpha where it is, or at least between alpha and beta. I definitely need a little work, but the concept's there and it works. Not the most accurate thing though, because again, those sliders are really prone to friction, and it's really hard to actually get a nice shot on that you can get with an Xbox controller or a PC mouse and keyboard. It's not terrible. it's definitely not terrible. It feels natural. The thing is very light, a lot more light than you would think it would be. And there's actually a console there too, which I didn't really show you guys, which is like an Xbox 360 with like a Wii covering over it pretty much. I mean, the HD graphics look really good. The HD Zelda demo was amazing. Being able to see that in HD pretty much like made me jizz my pants, which was a great feeling, by the way, in public. So I mean, overall, I mean, I'm definitely warming up to it, but it's not perfect.
Well, Rapture, since you brought up the size of the controller, that brings up another question. Given that the tablet is over 6 inches, 6.3, I believe, is that correct?
6.2.
All right. How would you see the popularity of the Wii U on the Major League Gaming Pro Circuit? Let's say they brought Smash back on the Pro Circuit. It's on the Wii U. How do you see people reacting to it in its current state?
Oh, well, you're not going to use the tablet, first of all. There's absolutely no way. You can't play Smash on that thing. And the problem is that the system only supports one tablet. Like, that's it. You can't use more than one because you can't stream. I'm pretty sure you won't be able to stream more than, to more than one tablet. So they're only going to use one as far as I'm concerned, which means unless they come up with like a classic standard sort of controller to go along with it, players will have to use the classic controller attachment for the Wii remote, which actually isn't bad. It's a good substitute. So actually Smash in any competitive scene is very viable because, the thing has a lot of processing power. There's a lot of room for Smash to just flourish. And the graphics can be amazing for it. The online's going to be a lot better. The gameplay, I'm sure, will get a huge boost from the processing power and all the things that the Wii U can do. It's definitely not out of the question at all. Just with the tablet, no way. It's 100% not going to happen with the tablet.
Since you were at E3, can you also tell us about other games besides Smash that may be considered to be competitive in the future?
Competitive in the future? I mean, it's a hard thing to say because some of those, demos were definitely not like multiplayer demos. I mean, I played, in terms of multiplayer, I played Gears of War 3, the Horde mode, which, obviously wouldn't be on the circuit. I mean, Gears of War 3 is it's Gears, and unless if something goes really wrong, I don't see a reason why Gears wouldn't be on the circuit. It's a solid game. The gameplay is very smooth, very great. I mean, it's not a huge deviation from Gears 2 or Gears 1, but, along that same format, I wouldn't see why not. There's a lot to work with. I played Duke Nukem Forever. I wouldn't put that on a circuit, even though it's really fun. I didn't really get the chance to really get, like, multiplayer time on these games. A lot of them were campaign sort of oriented. So, I mean, from E3 really, I guess, showed me that there are definitely a lot of games out there, but in terms of competitive, I really don't know.
So, how would you grade E3 this year?
Considering it was my first, and considering that there were so many amazing games I got to play, some that I want to buy right now, like Sonic Generations, Rayman Origins, Assassin's Creed Revelations, all the 3DS games. The 3DS impressed me amazingly. 11 out of 10. And besides the fact that I was able to play with some of the best brawlers in SoCal because I was able to get the time to do that, that made the experience that much better. Flying sucked. Delays sucked, but shit happens, and overall it's an amazing experience. I recommend it for anyone.
11 out of 10, high praise indeed.
I want to go back to Smash Brothers here just for a second, Dakota, since I know you're a Smash Brothers nut, and you said, hey,
right,
you're playing with some of the best Smashers in the country over there while you were in California. I have to ask, they did announce the new Smash Brothers for Wii U, and they did say there was going to be some 3DS capability. You'd be able to play between the two systems as well. And while we haven't seen any video, haven't seen any preview for the actual game yet, what do you think about this capability? Do you think there might be some sort of feature in the future that you might see a tournament where it's contested on both 3DS and Wii U? I mean, would that be something you would want to see in the competitive scene? What are your thoughts?
It's hard to say. I mean, the competitive community for Smash really just likes to keep things simple, just get it done with what we got. Now, in terms of developing for both these games, it's a really hard challenge for, Project Sora, who's going to be working on it. They're behind Kid Icarus Uprising on the 3DS right now. What they've been saying, especially Sakurai, Masahiro Sakurai, who is the creator of the series, said that the 3DS is probably going to be more of a single sort of personal experience where it's not going to be mostly multiplayer oriented as much as the console version will be very multiplayer oriented. So I really doubt that in tournament you'd be seeing a 3DS Wii U sort of connectivity. Besides the fact that players really just want to bring a controller and play. So to have to bring a 3DS and a controller is sort of, against that sort of motive. I doubt that, but I think the connectivity overall should definitely be fun because there's a lot of cool things I can put into it, especially because I just want to play Smash portably. That's all I want to do because it's just amazing. I want to play Smash all the time. In terms of competitive play, I really don't see that happening. I think people are just going to stick with the console, do what works, and not really sort of complicate anything.
Rapture, I want to hop in here and ask you a bit about the people, the environment. What would you say were some of the best people you met? And I don't mean that just famous people, but all around. What was the social environment like? Both the crowds, and I know you mentioned earlier that you got to play with some of the best brawlers from SoCal, but talk to us about the attendees at E3, your experience, and, what are some of the more memorable people you've run into?
Well, I think one thing that people have to realize is that, the people who make these games, who market these games, who are behind the games that we play are really just people. And I don't think we get to see that a lot, and at E3 you really do. I mean, you could be walking around any booth and just a developer from any random game series could just be playing there. I mean, I played Kirby Wii with a guy from Insomniac who was behind, Ratchet and Clank. He's just a guy, but he's behind, Ratchet and Clank, which is one of the most, amazing series ever. I got to play, Kirby Wii with him. I mean, I got autographs from the producers of Street Fighter and Tekken. I played Rage next to Cliff Bleszinski. I mean, it just being in a community that people are so passionate about it that when you put all those people in one spot, it's really amazing because you can't walk anywhere without somebody just being ecstatic about video games, and there's people from all different ranges and ranks in the industry, and they're all on the same level here at E3. I ran into celebrities. I ran into just random people who just want to enjoy the games as much as you do, or they want to promote their games or something like that. And it's not something that you may feel off limits to, like, oh my god, I can't go over there. I'm just a regular attendee. No, like they want you to be part of it. Everyone's working together almost to have a good time. And the fact that you can literally run into anybody and talk to anybody. I talked to Reggie Fils-Aimé, the president of Nintendo of America, just in a conversation about the Wii U, just out of nowhere, because that's what it's about. It's about connecting with people. And E3 is so good about that because it's 3 days of literally running into anybody you want and making those contacts, making those connections, because at the end of the day, they want to do the same thing. People you're talking to, they want to meet people who love games as much as they do.
What was your favorite moment of E3?
My favorite moment of E3? Oh God. I think my favorite moment of E3 has to be going into the Bethesda, closed door demos. Both myself and Will were invited by Bethesda. They're behind Rage and the Elder Scrolls and Fallout and all that. And they invited us to their booth. And if you didn't get an invitation, you couldn't get to see these things. We got to play Rage. We got to see a special sneak preview of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. We got to see a demo of Prey 2. And that was amazing because, I mean, we felt like really important. And we got to see, these exclusive things about the games. They were really nice people. It just being a part of that was really awesome. However, tied with that was getting the number of a booth babe, which was really hype because we became like friends with her. And then I lost the number, which I'm really salty about, and we're trying to get from the interwebs. That was fun. But I definitely think Bethesda sort of made the show for me.
The Elder Scrolls and booth babes.
Yes.
What more could one ask for? But seriously, Rapture, hearing that, I think it's awesome. I mean, I think it's incredible to think that, as Jason started out, you started out on this podcast show. You have a real passion for Nintendo, for Brawl. You turn that into your own show, and then, bam, you take that passion and you find yourself at E3. Almost proof that with a little bit of hard work and passion and determination, people can expand their horizons, which it sounds to me like you definitely have, I imagine, a much different framework now for the industry than you did before E3. Is that fair to say?
Oh, definitely. I agree. I mean, it changes your perspective on a lot of things. And I don't know. I'm almost speechless just like thinking about it. Like, wow, I went to E3. Wow, I was a part of that. It's something you don't really forget about.
And finally, to talk about all things positive in Directional Influence, I heard that someone from Kotaku said something good. Do you want to share that?
Oh, yes. I actually had a brief conversation with someone from Kotaku at E3, and we just exchanged emails a bit, but they definitely liked the show, and I've been a big fan of the site forever. I love, always checking up on them. So that was really cool that happened. I actually had quite a number of people at E3 say that they actually know of Directional Influence, and we had a lot of people tune in because they found out about it because we, told them about it. I was like, wow, this is sort of hype. Okay, people actually know about my show, so that's sort of like humbling, I guess. So to hear from them and from everybody else is actually rather awesome. I'm very hyped about that.
Well, I want to open this up to everybody else, to Jason and to Smith. From all the announcements that you saw at E3 from Microsoft, from Sony, did you have a favorite?
Halo 4.
They announced Halo 4, 5, and 6, correct?
Yes, that is correct. And the Halo Anniversary Edition.
That's the Anniversary Edition of CE, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, for me, I think one of the best moments probably had to be listening to the big three. And I always ask myself, why does Microsoft do such a poor job? And why does Nintendo do such a good job? When you were there, well, you didn't go to all of them, did you, Rapture?
No, I didn't.
Because to me, I thought that Nintendo probably did the best of the three. But Jason, what do you think?
Of the three conferences, I actually probably would put Nintendo and Sony at the top and Microsoft underneath them. To me, the hardware announcements were definitely the stealers of the show. I mean, the Wii U and PlayStation Vita both had just really mind-blowing moments in their presentations that they had shown. Well, of course, yes, the Wii U controller does need some polish, as Rapture is saying. The possibilities are there, and that's what's really exciting. I love the ideas of what could potentially be done with this controller. Additionally, same thing can go with the PlayStation Vita. What is being done with this? Well, I have to be honest, I've been really critical of Sony since the PlayStation 2. I've not been the biggest fan of some of the things they've done with the PS3 or even the PSP. The Go, I think, was pretty much a failure in my books. The Vita has some really amazing technology being put into it. That 5-inch crisp OLED screen that's being put on it, being a touchscreen, having the touchpad on the back, chatting on the go, potential 3G gameplay. That's going to be really neat. It's like a portable PlayStation 3. And if it's executed properly, it could really be a game changer for gaming as a whole. So to me, the winners of E3 were actually us, the gamers, because with this new hardware on the way, there's so much that's going to be changing the way we play games in the future. And in that regard, I think all of us win.
Jason, I want to add something about the PlayStation Vita. I'm really impressed by the touchscreen on the back of the device because for the very first time, I'm actually tempted into possibly purchasing a Sony device. And I have not purchased a single Sony device since 1998. So for them to come up with an innovation like that is a real game changer because you look at devices like the iPad. They have the main touchscreen on the front, but they do not have one on the back. So having a touchscreen on the front and back, that is truly a game changer.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Smith. I start to think about ways both those touchscreens can be used. And I think that opens doors to other ways to interact with the mobile device that, we haven't considered yet. And I think that's really positive. And, although I can be critical at times and rank order these, at the end of the day, I think, Smith, you pull out something really positive. That in many ways we are all, as gamers, seeing the major players try to innovate and deliver to us something that's going to enhance our gaming experience, which is obviously positive for everyone.
Everybody wins.
I have to say I completely agree with that. I feel no matter what, whoever did the best of the press conference, it's not really about the best. It's about what they provide for us as gamers. And I feel like every company, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, whoever it was, is providing for their gamers. I'm not a big fan of Kinect, but, Halo 4 is there. That's always fun. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about what we get as gamers and how things are advancing and evolving. And I feel like this year actually really showed how gaming is evolving, whether it's casually, competitively, hardcore, just in general. Gaming is moving and progressing, and that's really awesome.
On that note, Rapture, I want to thank you again for taking time out. Busy with Directional Influence, busy writing your blog, post E3. I just want to really thank you for coming on the show. It's always great to have you back. We are fans of your show. We thank you for producing it. I know the Smash community. I spoke with Alpha Zealot. They love your show, so keep doing what you're doing and loads of luck.
Thank you. I always miss the days of the losers bracket, but Directional Influence is fun and stuff. So I thank you guys. It's always fun to be on here.
As I had mentioned at the top of the show, I really want to thank the entire gaming community for all the feedback we got on last week's episode 70 of the Losers Bracket, where we had Fear Golden Boy on to talk about Call of Duty and what could be better for spectators in the future and how we could change up the gameplay. We had some amazing discussion on both our site as well as the Major League Gaming forums, and I wanted to give you a little bit of the feedback of the week that we had, the best feedback. I wanted to share it with you. One of these comments came from a user named Deathcoil, who said, COD is more popular to the masses than Halo, yes, but you'll never attract as big of an audience with such a stripped-down version of the game. Look at the popularity of the competitive playlist online. That pretty much proves the point. It would be like if MLG used Halo, but didn't allow any weapons or power-ups to be used on the map except extra DMR clips, or if they just played SWAT or snipers. Deathcoil went on to say that he wanted to see less or no search and destroy with more point of view switches in the game. He felt that when someone got hot, they didn't really focus on them. They were just keeping on one player in particular, and I'd have to agree with him. That would definitely improve the spectator experience. Additionally, in regards to stripping things down, as he said, he thought maybe they could add back in certain kill streaks to the game. Nothing that would be too game-breaking, but something that would make it imperative for people to stay alive to get back into the game, and it would make it more fun for spectators because if someone goes on a streak, you know that something's going to happen. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
Well, Jason, as a Halo fan, I'm going to have to definitely agree with Deathcoil. Less search and destroy is really going to be needed if they want to advance it, in my opinion, because the key difference when I was watching Call of Duty at the Pro Circuit in Columbus was it didn't have that feel of anything can happen at any time like Halo did. You know, at any moment, a sniper shot can ring out, a grenade can fly. There just did not feel, as a viewer, to be that sense of urgency in Call of Duty. But that's something that can be addressed. It really can. And the kill streaks, that should be in there, because that would certainly be a way to get the crowd to pop.
I'm probably going to disagree with both Deathcoil and Smith on this one. I really go back and forth on search and destroy. Part of me says Call of Duty needs to make up its mind whether it's going to be like Halo or whether it's going to be like Counter-Strike. Halo obviously would remove the search and destroy, and Counter-Strike would include it because a lot of the European organizations and tournaments are very much focused on search and destroy. But at the same time, when I start to look at the alternatives, I'm not sure that search and destroy alone, like is played in other places, adds enough excitement. Some people feel that it can be very tense and very exciting, but I'm not so sure I agree with that. And the reason the kill streak doesn't resonate with me is because I would have to start to ask, you've only got 4 players in a round, how much would that add to a capture the flag? How much would that add to a domination? When I think about power weapons and I think about other things like that, the reason they work so well is because it forces you to get to a certain place on the map, right? You can't camp. And that's Halo's success. That's Gears of War success. Call of Duty struggles because you don't force people out of campy positions to get things done. And even though a power streak might encourage people to kill, you're still not forcing them to move.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that most game modes are going to need another look at. I mean, one of the common feedbacks I'd also heard this week was that domination, a lot of people were really feeling that something needed to be done there because at certain points it becomes mathematically impossible if one team is playing really well for the other team to come back. And at that point, a lot of people would leave the stream or just stop caring to watch, get up, walk away because, well, you know who already won and there's just pointless gameplay at that point. So maybe if that was tweaked, that would be better as well. But yeah, I agree. We're going to need to decide what's going on with Call of Duty. Is it going to be more like Halo? Is it going to be more like Counter-Strike? Another really good comment that was left for us was actually from our own VVV Relent. He had stated, Removing the FAMAS, or any top weapon in Call of Duty for that matter, would be like removing the DMR in Reach or the shotgun in Gears of War. No matter what changes you make, everyone will use the same setup because that is how the metagame works.
Yeah, I mean, I think I am a fan of seeing different weapons. See, that's tough, because although I think it's a really great argument, like Relent has a great argument, whether or not that's true, whether or not comparing Call of Duty to Halo and comparing it to Gears of War in that way is really a good analogy. Again, Halo, Gears of War, they both have power weapons. They both have something that pushes people into moving. I would like to see a lot faster game style at times in Call of Duty. However, removing the FAMAS may not necessarily help at all. This is the box that is Call of Duty, and you can push against the boundaries of that box, but it can only go so far. So, I mean, I think they know as a community what they need to do, but if they make too many changes, where Relent's point might be right, if they make too many changes, and in some ways you affect the balance, or it starts to become easier to kill other people, therefore reducing the skill required, that would hurt also. So I'll agree, it's a tough thing, and I think Relent makes a good argument. Not sure I agree completely, definitely a good argument.
Either way, at the end of the day, what I'm really impressed by is the amount of community outpour that we've seen on this subject and how everyone really has an opinion. And we really need to go out there and test these settings, figure out what works, and let MLG know so that we can have a better competitive game come Anaheim and beyond when it comes to Call of Duty. So once again, I really do want to thank everyone that gave us feedback on this subject. And please continue to throw these opinions out there. Let us know what you think. Come talk to us. Talk to MLG. Let us know what you want to see so that MLG can respond with the proper settings to make it a fun spectator experience for the future.
Well said, Jason. And I think on that note, it is time for us to say goodbye.
Indeed it is. It has come to that time. I would like to thank all of the sponsors from VVV Gaming, SteelSeries Gamer Grub, Control Freak, MusicSkins.com, and of course Custom Inc. Big shout out to the band that supplies our intro and outro music. That would be Power Glove. They are amazing. Go check out their latest album, Saturday Morning Apocalypse. Great music. Thanks, as always, to the VV Gaming community and the entire competitive gaming community. Hey, I've been echoing it throughout the entire episode. We really appreciate all of the feedback and support you give us. Thank you so much. Be sure to stop by our podcast homepage. The website is vvgaming.podbean.com. You can also subscribe to us over on iTunes. Just search for VV Gaming. We'll pop right up. That way you can follow both of our shows, Directional Influence, of course, Rapture earlier in the show. From that show, go check them out. And, of course, our own show, The Losers Bracket. Email us at thelosersbracket@vv-gaming.com. If you have any sort of suggestions, feedback, comments, concerns, shoot us an email. We'll get right back to you. Additionally, you can follow us over on Twitter. There we are simply known as Losers Bracket. We don't bite. Tweet us your feedback. We'll tweet back. We are awesome like that. And with that, we are on our way out of here. We hope to see you back here next week for the 72nd episode of our show. Until then, take care. We'll see you soon.
I want to make a quick shout out to everybody who follows Directional Influence, and also everyone from the East Coast going to Genesis 2. Beat the West Coast. We're better. We're Beast Coast. East Coast versus West Coast crew battles at Genesis. East Coast going to win it. Yeah, let's go.
I want to thank the entire VVV community and all the response I got on Twitter and Facebook for my first appearance on the Losers Bracket last week. It was very encouraging, and I hope to hear more feedback from you regarding this episode.
I want to thank both of you, Smith and Jason, again for a great show. And I want to give a shout out to our StarCraft division, who's been doing really just amazing stuff, and our staff. We've gone through a lot of changes recently. I appreciate you keeping up with me. More changes are in the works as we continue to fine-tune this awesome machine, and to the community for just being awesome. Take care, everyone.